Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Chrissy from Up the Windy Lane. And we're gonna pressure can some refried beans. So I make refried beans, but to make them every time we need them, it's kind of just, well, it's kind of a pain because they're made in the Instant Pot, which is not a big deal. But when we need them, it's like I don't have time to do it right then. So I'm going to attempt pressure canning them. So I have my pressure canner, my new electric pressure canner, which I've used like once. Man, I really loved it. So we're gonna do that. But I do have them finishing up in the crock pot because they are partially cooking, and then we're gonna fill the jars and put it in the pressure canner. I did soak these overnight, which I haven't done before, but soaking the beans releases that, I don't know if it's lactic acid, I can't remember what it is, but anyways, it's the gas that puts off. So it kind of releases that so we have an easier time digesting them. So I did soak those. It's a little bit different than what I've done before. And then I followed the recipe I use, which just has onions, garlic powder. It has jalapenos in it, but I use jalapenos because that's what I grew a couple years ago and what I have canned. It has cumin, it has oregano, and I said garlic and chicken broth, which is my own chicken broth, chicken stock, and some water and some salt. So bay leaves, that was the other thing. I was trying to remember. I can share the recipe below. It's a super simple recipe, but I just really wanted to have them on hand so that if we want to make quesadillas or whatever it is, we can open a jar of refried beans. So I'm pretty excited and I want to share this with you. Hopefully I get this done before anybody else comes home. So I do have seeds to plant today. Got lots of things to do on this Friday. So let's see if I can get it all done. So I actually quadrupled this recipe. This one's pretty close to being done. Not sure what the difference. I started these pretty close to the same time. This is my original Instant Pot. This one I got just for the yogurt feature, which if I would have known exactly what it did, I probably wouldn't have done it. But it does, come in handy. And having two of them actually is nice. I don't use them all the time, but this is the one I use most of the time. As you can tell, it's kind of dirty. So I did fix these. I quadrupled it. So I didn't add as much liquids. Hopefully everything's okay. But it cooks on high for 45 minutes. And then you let it rest for 25. So you see this one's almost done. So as soon as this one's done, I will release the pressure and go ahead and get that started in the jars. So what I think I'm gonna do with the jars is, since they're hanging out over here, and to the best of my knowledge, this will make 12 pints. I seem to have a problem whenever I can. I usually have more stuff than what fits in the jars. So I do have more jars, but I did get out 12 because one recipe is supposed to make about 6 cups. So that's 3 pints. So I figured it should make 12 pints. We'll see if I'm right or not. It just really looks like a lot of beans when I put it in there. And I added onion and stuff to it as well. So it may have more. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm going to I think I heat these up. Actually, I can heat these up in the pressure canner. So let's go start that. These are the directions for my electric pressure canner. I have made sure like the insert is in there, the rack is in there. I will be adding 3 quarts of water, which actually goes to the fill line. I'm probably going to go ahead and add the 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I have not actually done that before, but I'm going to try it today because they usually get cloudy and you have to clean them off. So then we're going to hit pressure can. We're going to set our time, which is 75 minutes. Then we're going to actually put the jars in there and fill them halfway with water so it heats the jars up. The benefit of heating the jars up is so that they're warm, and so when you add the hot food to a hot jar, that's good, and then you add it to the pressure canner, you don't have a great big flux of temperature, which can actually cause your jars to bust. Been there, done that. So just want to make sure you check your jars before you start using them to make sure they don't have any cracks, of course. Make sure the tops are good, there's no chips. Make sure you're using actual canning jars for pressure canning because it does put pressure and lots of heat on those jars. And if they're not made specifically for that, there is a chance that they will bust. Again, been there, done that. So let's go ahead and get the water in here. All right, got the 3 quarts of water. You can actually see the fill line, and so you've got 3 quarts of water in there, and then I'm just gonna splash a little bit. Whoops, that was probably more than 2 tablespoons. Hard to do that completely accurate when you have one hand on holding a camera and the other holding vinegar, but it'll be okay. So got that in there, so we got that ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit pressure can. We're gonna get the time on there. It is 75 minutes. So we're gonna pressure can, we're just gonna turn this to the 75 mark. And then we're gonna go ahead and put the jars in half full of water. So this will fit 8 regular mouth jars, 8 regular mouth pint jars. If you go wide mouth, you can only fit 7 in here. And so I'm gonna do 8 just in case I have more than 12 gonna be done. I can go ahead and do these, and what I'm thinking is I'm probably gonna have more than 12, and then I can, I'll have plenty already warmed up and can go from there. So I need to go ahead and check that. Those are both done. Both the Instant Pots are ready. They have set for 25 minutes each, so that's good. And so these are heating up, and after these are heated up, then we can fill the jars. So after hitting this again, after I've inserted the jars, it's just gonna warm up, and then it's gonna let me know when it's warm. It'll beep at me and let me know, and then I can fill the jars. Did forget something. I did forget to put the lid on it while it's warming up, apparently. So I did just add that. So it'll keep the heat in there and be doing its thing. And then this takes about 20 minutes, which would give me enough time, you know, to get some things ready or whatever. So I do have some beans to look after, so we're gonna check those. We're gonna go ahead and release the pressure on these two. They have been going for over 25 minutes, naturally releasing pressure. So we're just gonna release that, and then we can take the lids off and see how they look. I do wanna say that this is not an approved recipe. This is not from the ball canning book or anything like that. I just know that you can can beans. I have checked online and people do can refried beans, but my plan is normally we would puree them really well, and I think what I'm going to do is not do that, and I'm going to put them as much whole as they are right now, so that whenever we dump it out in the pot, we can heat it up and puree it if we want to, mash it however we want to do. That way it's more like beans, like I'm pressure canning beans, and I feel better about doing that. Whereas if I were to completely puree the beans and put them in there, there is a possibility that the heat wouldn't go all the way through the beans because they would be so thick, and that is the reason why you probably won't find a recipe for pressure canning refried beans like that in the ball canning book. I haven't found one. So I'm just gonna not puree it completely, and I may do it just a little bit. I haven't decided yet, but that way I'm good. I know that they'll be canned properly, and then we can just puree them when we use them. All right, this one's done. So we're just gonna put that over here in the sink, and look at those. Now you see why they usually get pureed, because they have chunks of onion and chunks of jalapenos in there. Let's just kind of look at them. Here's the beans. You can see they're gonna mash up really well, but I think I'm just gonna put them in the jar. I do need to get these out though. I do have to find the 3 bay leaves, and we're gonna get those out, and then we can start putting them in the jars once those are heated up. I'm excited. All right, it just beeped at me. It is time to fill those jars. So we're gonna get them out. I've got a towel set down right here. I'm gonna put the jars on here. We're gonna get them filled and get them ready. Funnel that I really like is dirty, so we're going to use my old funnel, and I'm going to scoop out some beans. So my plan is to put these to about an inch. I'm going to try not to get so much juice in it, but I do want some juice for when we open these up and we want to puree them. So I do want an inch headspace though. Okay, I think we're getting to the end here, and it's mostly juice because I got these a little too full. Let's check this one. Definitely have to clean these lids off when I'm done. Alright, I think that's about it of that one. Let's start on the next pot here. Did fill up 8 jars, and I think I used all of one pot and part of another. I think probably these two have less beans. Probably need to figure out a way next time to maybe fill with beans only, then put juice in, And so I may do that with the next batch, but I'm thinking the next batch is probably going to be close to this same amount. So I probably will have more than 12 jars like I thought. So I did get my vinegar back out because I'm gonna put a little bit in here, and I'm gonna use a napkin right now. You can use a paper towel, you can use a rag, but I'm just gonna use this vinegar to clean the tops of the jars off. Just kind of cleans, disinfects, make sure that these are going to seal as best as possible. And you definitely wanna do this pretty quickly after filling your jars, because if you're like me and you make a mess, you've already got stuff like drying on the jars, so you do want to make sure that you get a nice good seal on these jars. So make sure, and when you run it around here, you can usually tell if if it's smooth or if you have something on the jar. And then I do have my lids going. They're nice and hot, so I can get those and get those on there. My nifty little tool here. Just want to finger tighten these, not to get them super tight. I usually tighten them until they stop, and then just give them a quick little turn. That's it. There we have them. So now that we have our jars in here, it's time to add the lid, but we do want to take the regulator off, which is something I messed up with the first time I used this. So we're gonna put our lid on. We're gonna close this up, and then we're gonna follow the directions. What this is gonna do is just what you would do with a regular manual pressure canner. It's gonna heat this up, it's gonna vent for 10 minutes, and then it's gonna let me know to add the put the regulator on. It's actually gonna light that up, and then once I do that, I will let it know, and it will start the countdown of canning these. It will actually let me know when it's done with that. It will start the cool down, and then it will let me know when it's done with that. I really like my electric pressure canner. It was a little pricey. I did catch it on sale one time on Amazon after Christmas, and so I did purchase it. I really like it because I kind of stay away from pressure canning only because I get distracted and I have to stay in the kitchen with a pressure canner. If you've ever pressure canned, you know that it can be, especially like this. I mean, this has to pressure can for 75 minutes, so I have to keep it at that right temperature. I'm not gonna not ever use my manual pressure canner, but this just makes it so easy, just so easy. Now, I do have a big one where I could double stack these, but again, I have to manually get it up to pressure, keep it there for 75 minutes, and once this is done, once I get the pressure regulator on here, it will do its thing, and I can go do something else and not have to worry about it. It will take care of it. So this is one reason why I really like this pressure canner. That's it. That is pressure canning refried beans, and I didn't puree any of it. I just went ahead and put it in there. We'll puree it when we get it done. This next batch though, I think I am gonna go ahead and put the beans, I'm gonna strain it off, fill it up with beans, and then put the liquid on top of it so it's more consistent that way. But I'm thinking I've probably got a good 8 more pints that I can do. So I'm just gonna write all this down. I'm gonna make sure I write it down on my recipe, keep notes, everything. I'll put the recipe, what I use and everything below. I will link this pressure canner so you can tell which one it is I have. I don't even know if it's the only one, but it is the Presto brand, I believe. Yes, the Presto brand, and that's the one I have. So I'm pretty excited. I'm glad that I'm actually getting this done. I'm probably gonna pressure can more now that I feel more comfortable doing it with this electric pressure canner. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below. I will give you a snapshot of what these look like when they are done. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to be lovely lights today.